Let's see. My odds are pretty bad too.
Hey Zio, I heard you're in the market for some NFTs.
Not you too.
Nintendo Soji got them servers on loan, and I created something I think you'll be interested in.
No.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna take your money with this one. Introducing Hime-no-No. Choose from a variety of different wigs to make your own Hime-no. We even got Rita style and Hat Guy style. Wait, is that Sononi style? Oh, you bet your meanwhile Sononis you do. Hey, can't do that. What? Who pays for NFTs? I got a JPEG. This week, we've got Fugitive Gira, Himeno lore dumps, and more of the new favorite character. It's a bit more on your typical side, so let's see how this week went for KingOhger. When we last left main character Hatman, he was seething at the thought of Gira betraying his country and king, but gets his jollies by seeing the visage of his royal shaftness. King Dushington lets his people know that Gira was indeed a traitor, using the stolen shoe god and attacking the KingOhger as proof to get his people rallied up against him. Haggai can completely attest to it anyway. Dabowski and Rita figure that since Raculus can use the KingOhger without Gira, well, we gotta go all in on that king's good side. So, Dabowski's got a plan. Last week, God Sasori, aka Sasurin, aka Scorpina, aka Stingtastic, jabbed KingOhger, resulting in the shoe gods minus Kawaga to 0 in the formation to catch a virus. Yanma thinks it's a computer virus, and Himeno thinks it's poison. So, in the battle of medicine versus technology, Ishabana versus Enkasopa, whose technique reigns supreme? Wrong show and genre. One thing that I find a little off on this show is how the villains are already on a first-name basis with Gira. It's almost as if they've known about him for a whiles. Either way, this week's Monster of the Week is brought to you by Call of Duty Ant Warfare. Isn't that just Earth Defense Force? Either way, Colonel Ant sets his sights to main character Hatman. Here to completely bitch out when Rita and Dabowski show up. Oh yeah, before all this, one of the royal troops goes to the orphanage looking for Gira, but he's clearly not there. Except he is. But with the fighting going on, he's got a plan to go and just get himself caught again. Back to the Revivathon, where Yanma's got the wrong sense of Himeno's ways, so it's time for some deep lore. 15 years ago, an event known as the Fury of the Gods happened, in which signs of the plague seem to have ravaged the land. Himeno's parents, doing their royal duties, get ambushed by Cloak Guy, who injects them with venom, killing them almost instantly, only to, zoom and enhance. Light speed? Well, I guess the jig is up. I did what I had to prove Rita supremacies. So chug off! What? No waifu wars this week. Besides, your cup is like half the size of the one that's gonna be generated for me anyway. See? No, I knew you were a bitch! Oh, see, now you've just done offended me. I don't think you know, but I've got burning form. So, let's make this quick then. But that bottle's smaller than my cup. Oh, see, that's what I thought. You don't want anything of this sauce, huh? Sachet away. So yeah, someone didn't cause that plague. And Venom and Himeno's parents? Kinda scorpion-ish. So the entitlement to God Sasori wasn't a royal thing. It was a medical thing. Since you typically need to study a poison to make a remedy for it. Yanma states that since the shoe gods are machines, they wouldn't have acted without orders, meaning that the threat back then was man-made. Also, we find out that his parents died before he could even remember them, so he ain't got no pity for Himeno. This, of course, is when the Bugnarok attack and the episode budget goes down the drain.
Look at those nose shadows.
But look, the bugs have found God Kabuto. Get those Mario mushrooms handy and grow bigly to snatch that shit up. But not if Sassorine has anything to say about it. They about to get their bugs back. And here's Gira to see that bugs back and get slapped right into tofu. With some gears littered all over the place. So I mean Shokudan. Just in time for Yanma and Himeno. They want to know what the shoe gods be saying since they can't understand them. Turns out Sassorine just doesn't trust people. So now we get some words of encouragement from Yanma. Some country synergy, and the bonds have been formed, and so has King-Ohger. While the guys handle the Gatai, Himeno goes for that scorpion, demanding cooperation but noticing some simpage going on. Sassorine, aka Scorpy, decides to let Himeno in control if she doesn't reveal the shoe crush they got going on. With Scorpy on hand, the new Gatai allows King-Ohger to slash through bugs, making easy work of Ant-Man at the end. I guess the next movie's just gonna be called The Wasp. Fugitive Gira has made it out yet again, sliding swiftly under the gaze of Ishibana and Enkasopa forces, making it back to the orphanage where the kids are hostage.
And Rita.
Rating time!
Can we light this clock on fire?
What this episode did for me is start the process of some world building in the historical aspects with the Fury of the God event that will likely get fleshed out within the coming episodes. The monster of the week being very classic Sentai was a nice change to reaffirm that this show isn't as serious as people try to make it. Though, a solid episode, I would say that nothing about it really outshone the flashback portion we got. But otherwise, this episode gets a solid Bioman B. This episode managed to sprinkle in traditional Sentai flair with the King-Ohger look. And this week's Bugnarok was a fun treat for the show. Though some of the green screen effects were lacking and making one set piece look like another by just throwing cogs out there was a bit of an eyesore, it was a pretty alright episode. But now on to the deep dive. So earlier in the episode, we got a tease that the Bowskis got a plan. And I guess that's what this whole hostage situation we got at the end was. Where it might have been Raculus giving the orders, but the Bowski's the one that planted the idea on how to get Gira. While Rita's just observing it all. I will say that the little tidbits we got to the Bowski makes me more curious. He's literally the major team member that we know the least of. I want to know what his exact relationship with Raculus is to bid such loyalty in a way. I've speculated before that it's probably due to their ages being similar. Compared to the other royals, they've had a longer standing relationship if that's the case. Though I like that we got some more info on the lineage of Yanma and Himeno. Actually seeing their parents end, while Yanma states that he was too young to remember his parents. The biggest thing to come out of this episode is the actual event of the Fury of the Gods, which it looks like Locust-style shoe gods plagued the land in an attempt to do something. This event, happening specifically 15 years ago, shows us a bit of the figure responsible, with a red sleeve being visible. Obviously, red means someone from Shogadam, and it's possibly even Raculus himself. Now, while looking at this still, I decided to look at a picture of young Raculus and to see if it was possible that they could be one and the same, as Raculus, if he is as old as the actor, would be in his late teens 15 years ago. It could have also been the former king or one of his retainers, but I highly doubt that since the face tease looks far too young. But of course, I'm going to look at this with speculations and theories on hand. So, if this was Raculus, then he likely killed Himeno's parents as they would have had proper seniority over his ruling as the future king. And Himeno, being so young, there would have been no need to take her seriously. Yanma was a non-threat since his parents were already gone.
He likely also already had Lebowski's ears, and Rita was raised to mostly be an observer of events in other nations. It's certainly possible, but I feel that these events might end up segueing to the introduction of the proper sixth, as it seems like too much of a global event to just go under the rug. Now, I know some of you may be thinking it's impossible for it to have been miraculous when Gira was kidnapped 10 years before. Well, they said the records of Rainbow Geruria existed over 10 years ago. If you go back to episode 5, you'll see that as Rita moves their finger back to the entry, it was actually 14 years prior.
Sup y'all, morning editing Zio here since I recorded this video last night and I'm editing it this Friday morning. But while working on it, I noticed that there's actually a bit of a correction, and it was actually not 14 years in which the book actually guided. Now, when you see Rita's finger covering the text, it looks like it could be a 14, but if you move like 5 frames back, it's actually in their specific text. So it doesn't stop the statement from being over 10 years, it's just not specifically 14. So back to the initial video.
Meaning that the events would have happened relatively close to one another, and it might have some correlation to Gira's initial kidnapping. These events were likely the cause of having several of the Shugods distrust humans, as it was their control over them that caused those events. But the precursor to the invasion of the resurrection of the Bugnarok does make it seem like there was a timetable in place to lead to their inevitable revival. Thus why I feel that this might have some correlation leading us to the reveal and proper introduction of the 6th team member. That wouldn't be Raculus. Anyway, next week it looks like Raculus finally transforms after they cock-teased us with the previous episode with no proper payoff. We still don't know jack about Kawakata Zero, but I guess that's what this arc exists for anyway. So, what did you think about this week's King-Ohger? Himeno's past, the fury of the gods, and why they gotta kidnap kids like that? Anyway, that's it for me. Until next time, bye.